Hey, Pretty Girl Club, welcome back to the Beluga series. If you really like this series, be sure to join the Patreon because that is where I make the most skinny content. I make it on the members page as well. I do tend to upload a little bit more on the Patreon just because it's audios versus the members where it's videos. But I want to talk about the skinny girl mindset and lifestyle versus the beluga mindset and lifestyle because I've noticed that whenever I go to the park, whenever I go on my walks, there is always a struggle medium who is literally trying to do the hardest workout out of everyone. And by the way, when I say struggle medium, what I mean is the women who lie to themselves and say they're a size medium. They're squeezing and struggling to fit. They can fit half of their upper thigh into a size medium, and then they want to claim that as their size, but in reality, they're more like an XL. So there's always some size 12, size 15 woman at the park using the pull up bar over here doing all these extra push ups. So I live in a really big city. So whenever I go to the park, there are like hundreds of people there. And I've noticed that the women who are skinny and in shape, all of us, we're just walking. We'll be like walking our dogs. You know, you'll see women with like six packs and stuff, just walking their dogs, just minding their business. And I've noticed that it's always the big women who have to prove themselves when it comes to fitness. It's almost like they view fitness as a competition, or it's like they're trying to keep up with the skinny women. And I've just noticed that struggle mediums, they always have this mindset of my workout is going to save me. They haven't figured out yet that you can't outrun a bad diet. So I've noticed that it's usually the biggest women at the park who are doing the hardest workouts. And then they wonder why they hate working out. It's like, ma'am, you literally just went into a borderline heart attack to do your workout. You literally just ran like 10 miles just so you could try to burn off a cookie. Yeah, nobody wants to do that every single day. So I've noticed there's this mindset where it's like they will do anything except put down the fork. They'll do anything except stop eating the cookies. And then they have the audacity to accuse thin women of being pro Anna. Like people accuse my content of being pro Anna. And it's like, no, actually, you're the one with an ED because you're literally addicted to sugar. You're addicted to carbs. You're addicted to DoorDash. You want to spend all your money on DoorDash, complaining about not being able to afford to go to a gym. If you took all that DoorDash money that you used over the last month and then you put that towards a gym membership, you would have no problem. And another thing I've noticed too is like whenever I'm around people that are very obese, they have this obsession with nails, like having the long nails and like having their wigs laid or whatever. And I'm like, okay, why is it that whenever I go to the park in my neighborhood, there's always a big woman who has her nails done, lashes done, her wig is laid, and it's like, ma'am, are you going to work out or are you going to a fashion show? And then they'll be over here working out, doing the hardest workouts, sweating off the lace. Their lace is literally lifting up off their heads because that's how much they have to sweat. And it's like, think about this for a moment. You're doing all of that all because you couldn't say no to the cookies. It's all because you couldn't say no to the queso. You couldn't say no to the nachos. All those burritos you've been eating. Now you're mad that you're shaped like a burrito. And I've also noticed too that like whenever I go to the park, I notice that there's always like the bigger women staring at all of us skinny women. They're always looking over. I'm like, bitch, can I walk down the street? Like I can't even walk up the hill without you breaking your neck to look at me several times. Like, yes, I'm skinny. Yes, this is possible. It's possible for you. Maybe you should keep focusing on eating less as opposed to staring at other women, giving them dirty looks. I've noticed it's always a woman who's at the park who's giving me dirty looks, and she's always big. There's always a big booty woman giving me the side eye at the park. And it's like, ma'am, I thought that having a big booty is a standard of beauty, right? So why can't you just enjoy your beauty and I enjoy my little booty? Little booties matter too, right? Okay, so why are you staring at me? And then another thing that will happen is I will be doing my squats or like I will bring my yoga mat at the park. I literally have never seen anybody bring their yoga mat to this particular park. I purposely took my pink yoga mat and I went off into the bushes, like off in the corner, so I could do my stretches. Why is it that literally after I started doing it, all the bitches in the park, they want to bring their yoga mats now? Suddenly everybody is a yoga guru. Suddenly everybody wants to do their stretches. And then they were literally bringing their mats to the exact spot that I was bringing my mat to in the park. And it's like, when you are skinny, I'm telling you, you are automatically a trendsetter. To be honest, you know what? I might just go flex today. I might just go on a run this evening or something because why not? Oh, and that's another thing too. I have also noticed, I will admit, this is something a lot of skinny women won't tell you, but I have noticed a lot of skinny women at this park, they are looking at the big women and giving the side eye and looking down on them. I'm just being honest because I've noticed that some of the skinny women, they will actually give you a dirty look if you are giving her a dirty look. They don't mind looking back at the fat girl and basically looking her up and down like, bitch, you want to look like me. So don't even say anything. You're out here running because you want your body to look like mine. Put some respect on my name. And I just feel like if you are thin, if you go to any fitness setting, it is literally a form of a pedestal. You're going to be put on a pedestal. Bitches are going to copy your workout. People are going to follow you. Have you ever had somebody literally change their path that they're walking? They will be walking the exact opposite direction. And suddenly, when they see you go down this trail, now they want to go down the fucking trail. Now, suddenly, they want to go on the same walking path as you. Suddenly, because they see you running, now they want to pick up and start jogging. Ma'am, you look like you have never jogged in your life. Why is it that once I run past you, now suddenly you want to turn into Usain Bolt? Now suddenly you're fucking Sha'Carri Richardson up in this bitch. You want to do a whole track workout because you see the skinny women are able to jog. And what they don't realize is that when it comes to something like cardio, everybody has a different level of cardio that they can do. Like some people can run for a long time, some people are better at walking. I personally prefer walking because too much cardio overstimulates my hunger, and lifting weights also overstimulates my hunger. But I've noticed though, whenever I go to this park, some of the women at the park, they literally have this external locus of control. And then they will be staring at your fucking outfit. And it's like, okay, my outfit's cute. Thank you for the compliment. But you don't have to stare like a psycho. And I've also noticed that sometimes the bigger women, they will have the cutest outfits. Like don't get me wrong, they have really cute outfits at the park, but I have to admit I am kind of thinking to myself, I mean, if I were that size, I would just spend that money on a personal trainer. Like I would spend that money on a nutritionist instead of spending $500 on a Lululemon yoga set. Why would I spend that much money on a size that I don't want to be? I mean, at least when I was a beluga, I was honest with myself. I was like, oh, hell no, I'm not going shopping because I don't want to be a size large. Why would I go and purchase thousands of dollars worth of clothing in a size large when I am actively trying to lose weight? That makes no sense. But something else that I've noticed whenever I go to the park, okay, so there was one time when I did like this 9 mile loop. So I did this 9 mile path or whatever, and there was some guy. He was running on the path, and we kept passing each other. So the first time he passed me, like he didn't say anything. The second time he was kind of looking at me and he like did a little nod. It was almost giving like, oh, I'm impressed that you're already at 6 miles or 7 miles. And then by the time I got to 9 miles, this guy is literally shocked. Like, oh my gosh, this girl is really out here. She's really doing it right now. 9 miles. She was really able to do that. And I just feel like when you are skinny and you go out into the public and you're just naturally athletic, people are impressed by that. But then I've noticed when you're big, people tend to judge it negatively, myself included. I'm just being honest. And it's because I am thinking to myself, like, she doesn't know what she's doing. All she's doing is she's going to overstimulate her hunger. She should have just been walking. She could have just got 10K steps. I told you guys, I lost weight. I did zero cardio. I did not do any high intensity, super long, like runs and going on the elliptical for hours. No, I just did basic 10,000 steps in my apartment because I was too embarrassed to be a beluga in public. So I decided to do the steps in my bedroom, marching in place. But another thing I noticed with this one girl, she is no longer my friend because she was just too much of a silly bitch. I couldn't deal with it. But literally, this girl, she would constantly talk about how she wanted to level up. She would talk about how she wants to save money, how she wants to lose weight. And as soon as I told her that we were going to the music festival, I was like, hey, the festival is this weekend, blah, blah, blah. Literally, I log on to Facebook and what do I see? She's out here shopping, buying all this shit for the festival, buying a fancy outfit. And I tried to warn her. I was like, well, you are going to get dirty. You don't have to buy a bunch of stuff for the festival. Like, it's going to be outside. You're probably going to get hot. Like, we're going to be walking around a lot, so you may want to wear flat shoes. What did this girl do? She tried to go and buy the biggest, sparkly high heels, buying a shirt that could barely hold her in because she has like a really big chest or whatever. So it's like you're buying these clothes that are not practical, all in an attempt to show out because deep down inside you feel like you don't have the body card. That's what it is. I've just noticed a lot of women who are big tend to do the most showing out at the gym, or they just do the most showing out in general, whether it's personality wise or like in terms of clothes and fashion. And that's because for the ones that have inferiority complexes, they can't be seen dressed down. It's almost like they put more pressure on themselves to dress up and to be more glamorized and done up. And isn't that ironic? Because if you're skinny, if you have the body of a model and then you dress up and you get glammed up, suddenly you're trying too hard. Oh, well, you're just trying to show off. Oh, well, you're being a pick me. You're just trying to get the male gaze. Meanwhile, whenever I go out or whenever I'm at the park or I'm at the gym, it's always the biggest women who are the most dressed up. So if dressing up makes you a pick-me, then who's really the biggest pick-me then? But one thing I will say though too about the park is like I really do feel like when you're skinny and you work out in a public setting, whether it's the park or the gym, people will literally memorize small facts about you. Like they will memorize the outfit that you wear. And it's like, Keisha, I thought you said I have no ass. I have no ass, so my body is ugly, right? I have the body of a little boy, right? I thought that I have no curves, I have no shape, my body looks awkward and lanky, and I'm just tall and skinny, and I look ugly. So then why are you memorizing the exact crop tops that I'm wearing? Why are you memorizing the fitness sets that I'm wearing? And then you try to dress in the exact same fitness set literally a couple weeks later, spending your whole paycheck on acrylic nails and an outfit to copy the skinny girl. Do you see how much easier it is to simply stop eating so much? All I had to do was put down the fork. Anytime people ask me about my workout, I would actually get pissed off because it's like, you're just looking for a shortcut. There are no shortcuts to this shit. You can't buy discipline. And then they'll be like, oh, I can get your same body type. All I have to do is get a couple surgeries. Okay, fine. If you want to spend $100,000 to get my body type, that's fine. But what a lot of women won't tell you is that once you get the laser, once you get the Ozempic or the BBLs or, whatever it is you're trying to get, you're supposed to also maintain a healthy diet. That's not supposed to be like the main thing you depend on. It's supposed to just enhance the experience. So when you get the lipo and you regain the weight, that's what makes it look lumpy. Or if you get the BBL and then you're not doing the workouts and stuff that you're supposed to do, that's part of what can cause it to like sag and have like the cellulite and stuff. So I've just noticed that in my city, a lot of the women, first of all, if you're going to get a BBL, make sure that the BBL looks good. And also it's like, okay, let's say you got a BBL and your BBL looks good and you feel confident in your BBL. I have never seen a confident BBL woman trying to antagonize my body. It's always the women who are insecure about their own bodies who want to try to pinpoint mine. Has anyone noticed that it's always a bad-bodied bitch who has something to say about you? Like literally, they will try to call out like, oh, your stomach looks a little bit bloated. Oh, you don't have a six-pack today. Oh, your face looks a little bit swollen. And it's like, ma'am, your whole body is swollen. What are you talking about? You literally are built like an onion, and you're over here talking about my face looking swollen. And I find it interesting because it's like, okay, so you can tell me all of my flaws, but you can't tell yourself what the flaws are in your own diet. But honestly, I kind of have a love-hate relationship with the park because sometimes I go to the park and it's like fun because I feel like I'm flexing in a way, but then other times it's not as fun because I feel like I can attract monitoring spirits sometimes. So I kind of have to be in the mood to really go to the park. And also, I have stopped going to parks where a lot of belugas hang out. Like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but like sometimes there is a lack of etiquette that I've noticed with some women who are really big. I don't know if they're doing it on purpose or if they're just not very able bodied. For example, blocking the entire trail. You're not supposed to block the entire trail. Anybody who actually goes on hikes, anybody who actually does walking or running or biking, they know that you're supposed to stay to the right side. If there's no line in the middle of the trail, you naturally stay to the right side so that people can pass you. You don't walk in the middle of the thing, or you walk on the opposite direction to where now I have to try to weed through, and then I have to stop what I'm doing and then wait, and then you're going hella slow, then you're blocking everybody. And then some people are like, oh, well, I can walk wherever I want. It's a free country. I can do what I want. Okay, but don't get mad if people are rude to you then. Don't get mad if people brush past you or if they bogard next to you. But I prefer to go to parks where there are a lot of fit people. That's actually how I found out about a lot of the different fitness groups in my city. It was literally just by going to the parks. So any park that I lived by, I would actually do like a rotation. So on Monday, I would go to one park. Then on Tuesday, I might go to a different one because all of the different parks, they have different terrain. So if you're walking or running, it's really good for your joints to get like a variety of surfaces that your knees are comfortable with. So sometimes I might go walk on cement because, that's going to be harder on my joints. I'm going to burn more calories. Sometimes I want to walk on sand or I want to walk on turf. So I like to have a cute little rotation. But you can always tell the types of women who go to the park all the time versus the ones who don't. Because the ones who don't, they are also bad when it comes to parking. They literally will stop in the middle of the street to try to wait for somebody to pull out. And it's like, okay, see, that's that lazy mindset right there. That right there is why you're big. You're sitting in the parking lot for 15 minutes, blocking traffic, holding up traffic, all because you're waiting for somebody else to get out of their car. And you don't even know if they're getting out. And usually a skinny person will get out of their car or they will roll their window down and they'll actually ask the person, hey, are you about to leave? They don't just sit there or assume or hope and pray that the person is leaving. Because that has happened so many times. And then I will literally watch the person. I will be thinking to myself, who is driving that car? What kind of idiot just held up the entire parking lot? Every single time, it's a beluga male. And it's like, sir, that's exactly why you're fat. It's because you don't want to drive 50 feet further to park in one of the many parking spaces. And then it was like the lot that we were parking in was literally free. They had a parking lot that was closer to the walking area. You just have to pay to park there. So it's like, if it's really that inconvenient, you could have paid $5 to park closer. But you see that lazy mindset, always trying to find a shortcut. He doesn't want to drive 50 feet and then walk an extra 100 steps. He doesn't want to walk further. It's too hot. He's going to get too sweaty. But another idiotic talking point that I hear some people saying is, oh, I don't want to work out in a public place because what if people look at me? And it's like, if you have the fear of being seen, just say that. Just stay fat then. Just stay fat, stay invisible. Just let people ignore you for the rest of your life then. I mean, if you just want to hide in a cave, if you just want to be trapped in your apartment for the next 50 years, then just say that. And a lot of women are literally fat because they don't get outside of the house. I will literally ask people, what hobbies do you have outside of the house? I've noticed that all the girls that I know who are skinny, they always have something going on. They'll be like, oh, I'm going to the farmer's market on Sunday, and then I'm going to do a gardening, community gardening. Then after that, I'm going to this book club. I've noticed that any woman I know who's skinny, she's always getting out of the house. She's not staying trapped in the house. When you're trapped in the house 24/7, guess what your dopamine source is going to be? It's going to be watching TV. If you're a man, it's going to be watching porn. It's going to be video games or food. That's it. Or it's going to be scrolling your phone and just laying in your bed. That's what it is. So a lot of people, they're big because they never get outside of the house. Going to the park is a very simple way to get outside of the house. Even though I get annoyed sometimes with people trying to copy or whatever, at the end of the day, those people are still doing better than the women who never leave their house at all. And another thing I've noticed too with some of my former friends who were belugas was, like, part of why we stopped being friends, it was always because they would beg me to work out with them. But then, as soon as we get to the park, once we start walking, she's like, oh no, I can't do that. Oh no, I need to slow down. Oh, well no, my knee's hurting. My back is hurting. My arms hurt. Suddenly every bone in her body is hurting. And it's like, ma'am, well then why did you volunteer yourself to do the workout? Do you want to be skinny or not? Which one is it? Because I'm not going to sit here and just listen to you complain 24/7. So either you suck it up and you do the workout just like everybody else. Everybody at the park is sweating. Everybody at the park is trying to have a better body, and they're all, working towards their goals. So I don't know why suddenly when it's a woman who's big, she thinks she's a special snowflake. Like, oh, nobody has it as hard as me. Nobody understands me. Ma'am, I'm pretty sure there's somebody in this world who was bigger than you and they lost the weight. And another thing I've noticed too is a lot of big women from other cities, they move to my city because, I don't know, maybe they just want to live here for whatever reason. But I've noticed as soon as they live here, and then they see all the pretty women who are like in shape and fit and they've got their bodies done, or maybe they got a boob job or whatever, suddenly these women start scrambling trying to lose weight. Suddenly the belugas that move here, they get their wake up call. They get their beluga wake up call and they're like, oh shit, I thought I looked good. I thought I was a pretty BBW. Then I just moved to this big city. Now they've got their super pretty BBWs who are actually working out. And that's another thing. Even the women who are BBWs, like the IG models that are like fat or whatever, they still work out. Like they're still getting laser lipo in their midsection, or they're getting 360 lipo, or they're like doing something to move their bodies. And so another phenomenon I see with women moving to my city is they panic when they move here because they feel left behind. They feel like their social status is not what they thought it was going to be. They feel like their dating options, their pedestal, whatever lifestyle they thought they were going to live here, it's not what they thought it was going to be. So then they decide to come and flood all the parks in my neighborhood. They decide to flood all the parks in this city and they try to frantically work off a bad diet. And it's like, ma'am, it took you 10 years to gain all that weight. You're not going to be able to lose all that weight in one evening. And this is also why I said in the Patreon, because some of you guys were asking about like running clubs, for example, or like triathlon club, like the biking clubs and all that. I only recommend that sort of stuff if you are already an athlete or you're already in shape. One of the worst things, one of the most triggering things for a lot of beluga women is getting into some sort of fitness group where everybody's in shape. That really just highlights how bad of an athlete she is. So I never recommend that. If you're overweight, I recommend literally just walking. I mean, that's what I did. I just walked 10K steps inside the house because I already knew that I was going to feel like shit going out in public. And then I joined the YMCA at the time because that was a place that had more women that had quote unquote average bodies. So, the teacher was not like this woman with a big six pack or anything. It was more for beginners. So I've noticed a lot of them make a mistake of they try to do the most difficult workout. It's almost as if they're performing athleticism. Sometimes they're doing it for the male gaze at the park because in my city, when you go to the parks, there really are a lot of like buff guys or whatever. There are men like hiking and they've got their little backpacks on and like I get it. You're trying to be seen, but it's like I don't have to have an entire heart attack just so I can be seen by Scott. These women are out here literally about to go into full-blown cardiac arrest just so they can get the attention of Scott or Chad or the Chattarican Hispanic man. And honestly, even if I am going to the park and I'm working out, if I notice that there are a lot of women being monitoring spirits, that's part of why I did my yoga routine. Well, I actually wasn't doing just yoga. I was doing my ab workout. But that's part of the reason why I literally went behind the bushes. It's because I don't want everybody to be looking at me. I don't want everybody to be copying me. I don't really like when people just rip off exactly what I'm doing and then they don't give me credit. I don't really need that. That happens all the time. That already happens on YouTube. Why would I want that to happen in real life as well? So sometimes when I'm at the park, if I really want to be a bitch, if I really want to be petty, I will go to the trail that is like off to the side where nobody can see my workout. I'll go like behind the trees somewhere or go up on the hill because nobody can run up the hill. That's another thing I've noticed. Whenever I go to the park, like everybody is on the flat ground. Everybody's doing the workout in the shade. But then as soon as I decide, you know what, it's too crowded over here, let me go hit those hills. Let's go hit some hills. Let's go do like a small mountain. Let me go drive further to a more difficult hike. Suddenly, it clears out. Nobody's there. So that's another thing I like to do if I really want to be petty. But what do you ladies think? Let me know in the comment section and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.